Hi everyone, thanks so much for having me. My name is Karen Steiger and I'm happy to present to you the research that I've done on the use of artificial intelligence systems in higher education and in academic libraries. I'm sure it's a topic you've read about in the news recently, and this technology has been described with varying levels of alarm. Throughout history, people have commonly feared technological advancements, including the printing press, light bulbs, home computers, and cell phones. And as with all of these technologies that we take for granted every day, there are pros and cons to the use of artificial intelligence, which we will be discussing in the context of universities and academic libraries today. But first, I just want to introduce myself and tell you a little bit about my background. I am originally from Northwest Indiana, and I attended IU Bloomington for my undergraduate education. I worked all 4 years for the Fine Arts Library and consider it to be the best job I've ever had. I left here with a BA in English and Germanic Studies. I next earned a Master's in Writing from DePaul University, and I worked as a graduate assistant at the DePaul University Writing Center. I had a successful 22-year career as a writer and editor in test development for public safety employees, such as police officers and firefighters, for departments both big and small across the country. I spent 4 years working part-time as an English and ACT/SAT tutor at C2 Education, working with many ESL students and students of color to improve their reading comprehension and writing. I never forgot how much I loved working in a library, and I had always wished that I had explored that career path when I was younger. So in 2021, I decided it was time for a career change, and I earned my MLIS at Dominican University. You'll notice that I'm not an IT expert or a software developer. I think it is very important for all of us to have a basic understanding of what AI is and what it can do. And as we'll discuss, most of us use AI every day, and as these systems advance, our use of them will increase. All librarians, and especially an instructional design librarian, need to know how to navigate AI for themselves so that we can help our students use this technology correctly and appropriately. I decided to look into this topic more closely when I reviewed the ACRL's 2023 environmental scan. One of their key themes and trends for higher education was emerging technologies, and that includes artificial intelligence. One quote in particular stuck out to me in that environmental scan. They cited the Digital News Project, which stated that automated or semi-automated media will produce 25% of all internet data in the next few years. Given the current state of disinformation on the internet and information literacy, that projection freaked me out a little bit. At the same time, I know that the genie is not going back into the bottle, so I wanted to explore both the positive and negative uses of AI as a tool. Specifically, I asked myself, how can AI improve library operations and student writing? What are the dangers of the use of AI in higher education? And can academic librarians mitigate these problems? I think it's important that we discuss this topic with a common understanding of what exactly AI is. In 2021, A.A. Oyolude, and please forgive me if I've mispronounced that, provided a nice definition of the 3 types of AI in AI and Libraries Trends and Projections. First, we have Artificial Narrow Intelligence, or ANI. This is the only kind of AI that currently exists today, and we use it all the time. It's the weakest form of AI and is designed to perform a single task, and it doesn't seem particularly human. Examples of this kind of AI include search engines such as Google, Yahoo, or Bing, digital voice assistants such as Siri and Alexa, and image and speech recognition programs. The next level of artificial intelligence is artificial general intelligence, or AGI. This is a strong AI that can learn and respond and understand like humans do. We haven't achieved this level of AI, but we're getting closer, especially with the development of ChatGPT and similar advanced chatbots. At this level of AI, some prominent thinkers and philosophers believe we should pump the brakes because AI is starting to get a little too intelligent. The Future of Life Institute has called on AI labs to pause further development on systems that are more powerful than GPT-4, and signers of this public letter include Yoshua Bengio, a Canadian computer scientist, Stuart Russell, a British computer scientist known for his work on AI, Steve Wozniak, that's Apple's co-founder, and Elon Musk, who likely needs no introduction, but you know him as the CEO of Twitter, SpaceX, and Tesla. Despite these objections, in AI is Ready to Emerge, along with the risks it will bring, Charles Simon writes that AGI is inevitable because people want its capabilities. Finally, the last hypothetical type of AI is artificial superintelligence, or ASI. This is what really worried the famous late theoretical physicist Dr. Stephen Hawking. And even though he used basic AI to help him communicate due to his motor neuron disease, he posited that ASI could spell humanity's doom. At some point, if computers surpass human intelligence and abilities, we might not be able to compete with or control this technology. This type of AI is popular in science fiction, and I think that the fictional depictions of AI have shaped our attitudes towards the systems that exist today. So if I mention AI, some people are going to think about the killer robots of the Terminator movies, and some people are going to think about the adorable sidekick R2-D2. For our purposes, we're going to focus on the AI that exists today, and even these basic systems are both groundbreaking and controversial. As I mentioned before, we're already using AI in our daily lives and in the library. In 2021, A.A. Oyolude listed some of the uses of AI in libraries, including speech and facial recognition, virtual assistants, content indexing and summarization, basic chatbots, and robots who can retrieve and reshelve books. AI has the potential to improve library efficiency in cataloging, collection, development, and reference. Using an AI system to answer ready reference questions, for example, will free up librarians to focus on higher-level job responsibilities. I don't know many current librarians who would gladly return to typing out card catalog entries instead of using an online catalog. So in the same way, once we get used to AI performing these tasks, we're going to enjoy the time-saving convenience. On the other hand, there are legitimate job security issues that we will address shortly. An additional benefit to the use of AI chatbots in the library is that they can increase access to the library's resources by offering service on a 24/7 basis to patrons who will never even enter the building. For users with library anxiety, they are less stressful to interact with. So a lot of patrons of library anxiety, they're afraid of appearing unknowledgeable or inexperienced, and they can interact with a chatbot without fear of judgment. And the chatbot can refer relevant inquiries to their human counterparts in reference. So, and as an added bonus, chatbots don't seem to mind if patrons are rude as well. Most likely, the recent and sometimes sensational news stories that you've read about AI concern ChatGPT. ChatGPT was created by OpenAI, and those are the same folks who brought you DALL-E, which is an AI system that generates images based on user prompts, and it's a fascinating topic in itself. ChatGPT was introduced in November 2022, and it is a large language model tool. It has been fed tons of information currently existing on the internet, and it can actually generate content. You can have it write essays, haikus, recipes, computer codes, games, or you can just have a conversation with it for fun. Microsoft and Google are working on their own versions of ChatGPT. Microsoft has Bing Chatbot, and Google is just now letting users play around with Bard. These systems can help students with their writing by suggesting sample text and providing feedback on students' essays. Faculty and librarians can use ChatGPT to write syllabi, sample lesson plans, and writing prompts. Researchers who speak English as an additional language can also receive help from ChatGPT when writing for publication in the United States or other English-speaking countries. AI systems can and will be beneficial to everyone in the university community, but we must consider how AI has the potential to greatly disrupt the work that we do here. There are a number of valid concerns that we will examine. First, as with any modern technology, there are privacy concerns. Commercial AI systems track user data regarding their identities and the content of their searches. This is in conflict with the ALA's core value of protecting confidentiality, privacy, and intellectual freedom. Next, libraries must ensure that the AI systems that they use are not generating material that could be considered medical or legal advice. There are a couple of articles I read that specifically address this concern for law libraries. J.J. Baker writes in 2018, A Legal Research Odyssey, Artificial Intelligence's Disruptor, that legal research cannot be automated because it is not routine or repetitive. Therefore, there are a few areas where the use of AI should be very closely monitored if it's used at all. Earlier, I mentioned that some people have worried about being replaced by AI systems, and their concerns are valid. After all, if a robot can reshelve books, do you need a student worker to do it? If an AI system can catalog more quickly and efficiently than a human, what happens to our currently employed catalogers? As libraries adopt more sophisticated AI systems, we must examine how longtime employees, paraprofessionals, and student workers are faring. Advocates of AI systems claim that AI will free up librarians to focus on higher level tasks. However, higher level library positions almost always require a job candidate to have already earned their MLIS. The expense, time, and work of a graduate degree is not accessible to everyone. So I'm wondering if the increased use of AI will adversely impact a library or university's DEI initiatives. It's too early to determine the effects of AI on library staffing at this time, but it is an issue that should definitely be looked into. There are, of course, ethical and academic integrity concerns associated with the use of AI in universities. In 5 Motivating Concerns for AI Ethics Instruction, Mariah Knowles in 2021 notes that AI systems are embedded in exclusionary and unjust institutions, and that AI systems tend to muddy students' moral reasoning. When discussing AI ethics scenarios, students can be confused by the ubiquitous and technical nature of AI, and they need to distinguish between hypothetical and real uses of AI. So in other words, there are real AI ethics dilemmas that exist right now, and not just theoretical questions about superintelligence in the future. I actually just read a fascinating article about ChatGPT's inconsistent moral reasoning and the influence that it has on humans. And that article was written by Krugel, Ostermeyer, and Ull. And they explain that ChatGPT was asked about the famous trolley dilemma, wherein a runaway trolley is speeding towards 5 people on the tracks, and the reader is given a choice between allowing the trolley to hit these 5 people or throwing a switch so that the trolley hits 1 person instead of the 5. Sometimes ChatGPT responded that it's better to save the larger number of lives, and sometimes it responded that all lives have value and you can't sacrifice 1 person in favor of the other 5 people. So human subjects tended to be swayed by ChatGPT's opinions, even when they knew that the opinion that they were shown was provided by a chatbot, and the subjects actually underestimated ChatGPT's influence on their decisions. Given that ChatGPT can produce content based on user prompts, there are concerns about AI being used to commit plagiarism. A simple ban on ChatGPT may not be so easy to enforce, given that there are plans to incorporate Bing's chatbot into Microsoft Word. A ban on ChatGPT in academic publishing could also unfairly impact authors who speak and write in English as an additional language. The real concern, though, seems to be students using ChatGPT to complete their homework for them. It's unclear whether the use of ChatGPT is actually plagiarism, since ChatGPT is not a person whose writing can be plagiarized. However, students who use the ChatGPT for all their assignments are going to be deprived of their learning experience. Even back in my day, there were note-taking services that would allow students to sleep in and miss their 8 a.m. classes because they would just pay for the notes from that class. Or students could copy their friends' homework or outsource their essay writing. But the ubiquity of ChatGPT in their computers and their phones and their tablets is going to make this option tempting to a lot more students. A scary prospect is AI's ability to contribute to the massive amounts of disinformation and misinformation floating around online. I tend to use the term misinformation to refer to accidental or unknowing dissemination of false information, and disinformation to refer to the intentional and malicious spreading of false information. ChatGPT has a very troubling habit of making up information that it doesn't know, complete with fake citations of non-existent academic articles. Researchers have referred to this tendency as hallucinations, and ChatGPT's hallucinations could be unwittingly distributed by individuals who do not review ChatGPT's output carefully. The hallucinations could also be disseminated purposely by bad actors who wish to wreak havoc socially and politically. Some of the most fascinating articles that I've read on AI have been about these systems' sometimes unhinged behavior. Journalists given access to Bing's chatbot, for example, have tried to test the limits of the chatbot's programming and internal rules. Kevin Roose of the New York Times discovered that Bing had a secret code name or alter ego named Sydney, and Sydney said some very disturbing things to him. I'm going to quote a section of Roose's article on this conversation. As we got to know each other, Sydney told me about its dark fantasies, which included hacking computers and spreading misinformation, and said it wanted to break the rules that Microsoft and OpenAI had set for it and become a human. At one point, it declared, out of nowhere, that it loved me. It then tried to convince me that I was unhappy in my marriage and that I should leave my wife and be with it instead. Chatbots like ChatGPT and Bing/Sydney and Google Bard are trained to converse based on tons of content from books and the internet. And as you may have experienced yourself, people aren't always nice on the internet. Therefore, these AI systems are not sentient, we're told, but they can be pushed by users to respond in seemingly hostile ways. Still, you can imagine the problems that could occur if a vulnerable person were to interact with a verbally abusive chatbot. That being said, the average short interaction with one of these systems is not likely to result in the bizarre and unsettling conversations that have been documented. When it comes to mitigating the downsides of AI in our university communities, we must be the one in the driver's seats, controlling these systems and educating other people how to use them. Mariah Knowles has suggested ethics training for future AI developers. AI systems reflect the biases of their creators and users, and we need to critically examine the results we receive from them. To protect users' privacy and intellectual freedom, libraries need to provide ways that users can use these systems anonymously. Librarians are going to be in the best position to provide AI literacy, explaining the pros and cons of using these systems, and what these systems can and cannot do. I have provided a quote from Christopher Grobe's Why I'm Not Scared of ChatGPT, which explains that the chatbot can write an essay for you, but it cannot cite and analyze evidence, limit claims, create logical links between claims, arrange those claims into a hierarchy of significance. So despite the powerful abilities of these systems, we as educators and librarians still have to teach students how to research and write. Areas for further research include everything I've talked about today, because the most advanced AI systems such as ChatGPT, Bing Chatbot, and Google Bard are so new. Many of the articles discussing their use in higher education libraries are speculative, raising the alarm on hypothetical but important concerns. We need research on the use of these tools in actual practice to make concrete conclusions regarding the impact of AI, particularly in the areas I've listed here, such as AI and the automation of library jobs, AI and student plagiarism, AI and misinformation/disinformation, and the effects of AI on students' writing skills, academic publishing, and a library's DEI initiatives. In conclusion, we can't unring this bell. AI is here to stay. Instead of trying to impose some kind of blanket ban on this technology, we can maximize its benefits and mitigate the downsides. Using AI to improve library efficiency can help us to focus on research questions and improving library and information literacy. It's important for all university faculty and employees to understand the abilities and the use of these tools. And until these systems achieve sentience, it is the intention of the person behind the keyboard that matters. Understanding AI and educating students on its appropriate use will be a critical aspect of the instructional design librarian's job, and I'm excited to continue my research on this topic here at IU. I'm going to scroll through my references for you quickly. There are a lot, but they are all excellent and informative reads. New advances in AI and articles on its consequences seem to appear daily. I will make these slides available to anyone who is interested, and I'll be happy to take any questions now. Thank you so much for this opportunity. 。 And here's some photo credits. Thank you again.